Once upon a time, Australia waged war against emus. Yes, you heard that right. In one of the most bizarre chapters of history, the Australian government found itself in a peculiar battle against these large, flightless birds. It all started in the early 1930s, a time when the world was grappling with the aftermath of World War I and the Great Depression. Australia, like many other countries, was facing significant economic challenges. But uniquely, they had an additional unexpected problem: an overwhelming population of emus. Post-WW Australia had two problems: too many unemployed soldiers and way too many emus. These emus, numbering in the tens of thousands, were migrating from the inland regions to the coast, seeking food and water. Their journey took them through farmlands where they wreaked havoc on crops, much to the dismay of the farmers. Farmers were beside themselves. Their crops were getting gobbled up by a feathery plague. The emus, with their voracious appetites, were destroying wheat fields and other crops, leading to significant financial losses for the farmers. The situation was dire, and the farmers desperately needed a solution. The government scratched their heads and thought, "Hey, we've got soldiers with nothing to do. Let's send them to battle Mother Nature." It seemed like a logical solution at the time. After all, these soldiers were trained in combat and had experience from the war. Surely they could handle a few birds, right? So, in 1932, armed with machine guns and military tactics, they went head-to-head with the emus. The soldiers, led by Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery, were equipped with 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. They were confident that they could quickly and efficiently deal with the emu problem. However, the emus had other plans. These birds were like the ninjas of the outback, dodging bullets and outsmarting soldiers at every turn. The emus proved to be incredibly resilient and surprisingly strategic. They would scatter and regroup, making it difficult for the soldiers to get a clear shot. The terrain also worked in the emus' favor, providing them with ample cover. Despite their best efforts, the soldiers found themselves outmatched by the emus. The birds were fast, agile, and seemed almost impervious to bullets. On several occasions, the guns jammed and the soldiers were left helpless as the emus continued their rampage. The operation, which was supposed to be a quick fix, turned into a drawn-out and frustrating endeavor. In the end, the Great Emu War became a legendary tale of man versus bird. The soldiers managed to kill a few thousand emus, but it was a far cry from the complete eradication they had hoped for. The emus, on the other hand, continued to thrive and multiply, seemingly unfazed by the military's efforts. The operation was eventually called off and the soldiers withdrew, defeated and demoralized. The emus had won, and the farmers were left to find other ways to protect their crops. The Great Emu War remains a fascinating and somewhat humorous episode in history, a reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the limits of human ingenuity. And let's just say, humans came out on the losing side. The emus, with their cunning and resilience, had outsmarted the best efforts of the Australian military. It was a humbling experience for the soldiers and a testament to the adaptability and tenacity of these remarkable birds. Moral of the story: never mess with an emu. They'll ruffle more than just your feathers. The Great Emu War serves as a quirky yet poignant reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are not always the most effective, and that nature often has the last laugh. So the next time you see an emu, remember the Great Emu War and the lesson it taught us all. These birds are not to be underestimated. They are survivors, fighters, and above all, a symbol of the wild and unpredictable spirit of the Australian outback. The Great Emu War may have ended in defeat for the humans, but it left behind a legacy of resilience and adaptability. The emus continue to roam the Australian landscape, a living testament to their victory and a reminder of the time when they took on the might of the military and won. So the next time you hear about the Great Emu War, you'll know the full story. It's a tale of unexpected challenges, human ingenuity, and the indomitable spirit of nature. And remember, never underestimate an emu. They'll ruffle more than just your feathers. The Great Emu War may have ended, but the story didn't stop there. In the aftermath of this peculiar conflict, the emus continued to thrive, seemingly unbothered by their brush with human military might. These resilient birds not only survived, but multiplied, as if to prove a point. Nature is not easily subdued. For the Australian government, the failed military operation was a lesson in humility and adaptability. The emus had outwitted the soldiers, and the farmers were still facing the same issues with their crops being decimated. It became clear that traditional military tactics were not the answer to this unique problem. Realizing the need for a different approach, the government began to explore alternative methods. They invested in research to better understand the behavior and migration patterns of emus. This led to the development of more effective, non-lethal strategies to protect farmlands. Fences were reinforced and new agricultural techniques were introduced to minimize crop damage. The farmers too adapted. They learned to coexist with the emus, implementing measures that allowed them to safeguard their livelihoods without resorting to drastic actions. It was a period of trial and error, but ultimately it led to more sustainable and harmonious solutions. The Great Emu War serves as a cautionary tale about the limits of human intervention and the need for thoughtful, innovative approaches to environmental challenges. It reminds us that nature often has the upper hand and that sometimes the best solutions come from understanding and working with the natural world, rather than trying to conquer it. So while the emus won the battle, the humans learned a valuable lesson. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the enduring spirit of both man and bird. The Great Emu War may be a quirky chapter in history, but its legacy continues to inspire and educate. As we look back on this unusual episode, it's clear that the true victory lies in the lessons learned and the progress made. The emus remain a symbol of the wild, unpredictable beauty of the Australian outback, and a reminder that in the grand scheme of things, nature always finds a way. And so the tale of the Great Emu War comes full circle, leaving us with a deeper appreciation for the balance between humanity and the natural world. In the end, it's not about who won or lost, but about the growth and understanding that emerged from this extraordinary encounter. The Great Emu War, despite its bizarre and somewhat comical nature, left an indelible mark on Australian culture. Over the years, this peculiar episode has transcended its historical roots to become a rich source of folklore and a beloved part of national identity. In the decades following the war, the tale of humans versus emus found its way into the hearts and minds of Australians. It became the subject of countless anecdotes, jokes, and even songs. The story's inherent humor and absurdity made it a perfect candidate for retelling in pubs, around campfires, and in classrooms, where it was often used to teach lessons about humility and the unpredictability of nature. As time went on, the Great Emu War began to appear in various forms of media. Books, documentaries, and television shows explored the event, each adding their own spin and interpretation. The war was featured in historical retrospectives and even inspired works of fiction, blending fact and fantasy to create engaging narratives. In recent years, the internet has played a significant role in reigniting interest in the Great Emu War. Memes, social media posts, and online articles have introduced the story to a global audience, transforming it into a viral sensation. The war's quirky charm and the sheer improbability of its events have made it a favorite topic for online communities who revel in sharing and discussing the tale. Moreover, the Great Emu War has also found its way into the arts. Visual artists have depicted the clash in paintings and illustrations, often with a humorous or satirical twist. Musicians have composed songs and ballads celebrating the emu's unlikely victory and the lessons learned by the humans. Even theatre productions and stand-up comedy routines have drawn inspiration from this extraordinary chapter in Australian history. The cultural impact of the Great Emu War extends beyond entertainment. It has become a symbol of the Australian spirit, resilient, irreverent, and always ready to find humour in the face of adversity. The emus, once seen as pests, are now celebrated as icons of the outback's untamed beauty and tenacity. In a way, the Great Emu War has achieved a kind of immortality. It continues to captivate and amuse, reminding us of the unpredictable dance between humanity and nature. As we reflect on this strange and wonderful story, we can appreciate how it has woven itself into the fabric of Australian folklore and popular culture, ensuring that the legend of the emus and their unlikely triumph will be remembered for generations to come. So while the emus may have won the battle, it is the story itself that has truly conquered, enduring as a testament to the power of storytelling and the enduring spirit of adventure. As we look back on the Great Emu War with a sense of humor and reflection, It's essential to understand how Australia manages its emu populations today to prevent history from repeating itself. Modern-day emu management is a blend of scientific research, conservation efforts, and practical measures aimed at balancing the needs of both agriculture and wildlife. Today, emus are protected under Australian law, and their populations are closely monitored by wildlife authorities. Advanced tracking and data collection techniques are employed to study emu migration patterns, reproductive rates, and habitat preferences. This scientific approach allows for more accurate predictions of emu movements and helps in planning effective management strategies. One of the key measures taken to manage emu populations is the establishment of designated conservation areas. These protected zones provide emus with safe habitats where they can thrive without coming into conflict with agricultural activities. By preserving these natural environments, Australia ensures the survival of its iconic bird while minimizing the impact on farming communities. In regions where emus do encroach on farmlands, farmers are equipped with modern deterrence and fencing solutions. Unlike the rudimentary methods of the past, today's technology offers humane and effective ways to keep emus away from crops. Electric fencing, motion-activated deterrence, and even drone surveillance are some of the tools used to manage emu intrusions. Public education also plays a crucial role in modern emu management. Awareness campaigns educate communities about living harmoniously with emus, emphasizing the importance of coexistence and mutual respect. By fostering a deeper understanding of these magnificent birds, Australians can appreciate their role in the ecosystem and reduce the likelihood of conflict. Additionally, research into emu behavior and ecology continues to evolve. Scientists are exploring innovative methods to manage emu populations sustainably, ensuring that both human and avian needs are met. Collaborative efforts between government agencies, conservation organizations, and local communities are key to achieving a balanced approach to emu management. While the Great Emu War remains a fascinating chapter in Australia's history, the lessons learned have paved the way for more sophisticated and compassionate strategies. By embracing modern techniques and fostering a spirit of coexistence, Australia ensures that its unique wildlife heritage is preserved for future generations. In the end, the story of the emus and their unlikely triumph serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding and respecting nature. As we move forward, let us carry these lessons with us, striving to create a world where humans and wildlife can coexist in harmony.